Sussex Day, Madam Deputy Speaker, and like every good horny-handled son and daughter of Sussex, I'm afraid I won't be druv into the government lobby this evening. Madam Deputy Speaker, hashtag I'm done. That was the overwhelming message on social media on Monday when Independence Day, so tantalisingly close, was cruelly whipped away from our constituents again. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm done with making excuses to my constituents for when their lives might just get back to some degree of normality. We are constantly told it is about data, not dates. Quite right. Well, we have the imminent dates by which the vaccination programme will have achieved effective herd immunity, well ahead of what was imagined when the lockdown route map was designed. Now, 80% of adults having had their first dose. We've had the data showing that the Pfizer vaccine is 96% effective against the Delta variant after 2 doses, and the AstraZeneca one, 92%. We have the data showing an average of 9 deaths a day at the moment and 1,136 hospitalisations, a world away from where we were at the start of the roadmap. We've had the data from Public Health England that only 3% of Delta variant cases had received 2 vaccinations. And we also had the dodgy data from 3 modelling studies from the University of Warwick, Imperial College and the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, showing widely different scenarios, with the most pessimistic warning that the UK could experience a further 203,000 deaths by next June, around 50,000 more than the first and second waves combined. Yet how can that be when we know the vaccine works and data shows a likely 90% take-up rate? Yet it is these doomsday models by largely anonymous wonks with no remit for considering the impact of further lockdown on life at large that seem to trump all the other data, and the government puts them on a pedestal above all others. They are confusing modelling for scientific forecasts. I'd be delighted.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Is my honourable friend saying really that the scientists are just concentrating on one thing and ignoring everything else?
Well, the trouble is there are lots of different scientists and they don't agree with each other, and it's only certain scientists who seem to have an impact on the government, and it usually is the most doomsday of those scenarios. So where is the data that shows allowing 6 people inside a pub has increased infection rates, and by how much? Where is the data that shows how much faster the infection has spread, because up to 30 people have been able to meet outside since the original journey out of lockdown? Where's the data showing that the NHS is being overwhelmed not by COVID patients, but by a huge increase in children and families suffering mental illness, including many worrying episodes that we've seen as constituency MPs, or by the surge in advanced cancer cases that could not be diagnosed and treated early? Where's the data showing how many businesses, particularly in the hospitality sector, cannot wait a further 4 weeks to be profitable and will likely now fail, with the accompanying impact on people's jobs and livelihoods and well-being? And where is the data showing the impact on the well-being of children now denied sports days for another year, school proms, students again denied graduation ceremonies for a second year, having missed out on so much of their university experience? And where is the data on the impact of domestic abuse that has risen so much we've seen? Where's the data showing the continued impact on babies? The problem is, Madam Deputy Speaker, that the only data considered seems to be exclusively the worst-case scenarios about the spread of COVID, regardless of the current single-figure average death rates. No COVID strategy is risk-free, but a further delay is by no means a victimless decision. It's time that we trusted people to live with COVID, just as the Prime Minister announced in February, in the same way that we live with flu, but we don't let flu get in the way of living our lives. And the government promised at that stage that we would move to personal responsibility. My fear is that the government continue to try to nanny people. They will just not take any notice, and then no amount of retained rules will make any difference. People are already increasingly making their own risk assessments. As somebody tweeted the other day, I've had COVID, I have antibodies, I've had both jabs, I've worn a mask, I've sanitised to within an inch of my life. I've done no more, it's over. My fear is that this will become a much more widely held view if the government just keep delaying Freedom Day without the evidence to back it up.